Hi, I'm Richy.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
And we're the hosts of the Well podcast.
And in this show, we're going to talk about all things marketing related and the things that RA marketing can do for financial advisors, as well as what we're doing in our own financial advisory practices.
Yeah, like Andrew said, we are both active financial advisors. So we're in the field doing what you guys do. And so in this show, we'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly.
This episode of The Well starts now.
All right, welcome back to The Well with RA. This is season 3, episode number 10.
I'm surprised you figured that out, episode 10. I'm I'm having a hard time keeping track.
On the way over here, episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me ask Ethan.
Oh, man. So this is our second to last one of these kind of advisor interview ones that we're kind of watching along with you. We're going to do more of these in the future. I think they've been really good content. And I think after we get through the end of this year here, Keith will probably do some more interviews like this. But this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, let us know what you guys are learning. Put it in the comments or shoot an email over to us. If you want to be interviewed, if you think that would make sense, let us know too. But I think we'll definitely do more of these because these have been solid. I've been taking notes. You've been taking notes.
Yeah,
we're all learning together, so it's been cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great comment. Like, if there's anybody you want us to interview, if there's somebody that you've worked with or you've been inspired by that wants to be,
and I'm thinking even like industry. It doesn't have to be an advisor. It could be
anybody.
Anybody, any FMO, just anybody that you think would be good. Let's get them on.
I had a joke, but I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, how did you do it? Was it your mom or something?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Okay. So today we've got Scott on with Keith.
Yep.
And Scott's been a long time RA client and friend. Him and Keith have gotten pretty close, so I know this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right. Hey, Scott, thanks for joining us way out from Virginia and hanging out with us a little bit today. And Welcome to the RA podcast.
It's good to be here.
Now, it looks like you're kind of packing up a little bit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're moving to a new office space, kind of taking a leap. We're currently in a shared office space where we have just one office, but we're moving to a new space where each one of us will have our own offices and a conference room and, space for clients. So it's kind of exciting, nervous about it, but it's nerve-wracking, but I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing. I love that you're able to do that and grow and expand like that a little bit. I wonder if we just, a little bit about you, how long you've been in the business and the industry, a little bit about your practice for everyone who's listening. And I mean, we've mostly got financial advisors, those in the retirement planning space. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. Started in insurance in 2014, kind of transitioned through a friend of mine into doing live seminars, and really kind of went full time into the annuity space in 2018, somewhere around there. Got my Series 65 in 23. So insurance licensed in 65. So now have AUM and but it's very small practice. It's just me, and I don't have any other sub advisors. It's me and a office manager. Pretty small.
Lean and mean, right? High speed, low drag.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, how did we first meet? When did you first meet RA? Start using us? Because you've been with us, Scott, for a number of years, which has we're very grateful for and love having you. We love helping you make a difference out there in the world, and that's why you're in the business. Mm-hmm. But where did we first meet? How did that evolve?
So the first IMO I was with, a small IMO on the West Coast, they had introduced me to RA marketing. I didn't know any different. And so I was with you guys from probably 2018, 2019, I think somewhere in there. You would know better than me. And then I changed IMOs. And with this new IMO, there were just a myriad of options. And I kind of hung tight to RA. They didn't know about RA. They had other options. And honestly, I did try a few of them.
Sure.
But I kept my hand in with you guys, and I'm approached all the time. And I'm like, look, I'm happy where I am, and there's no need to change. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, we certainly, we love being able to help you with your events and all the advisors we work with. I mean, let me ask you, over the past, several years here, I mean, there's pre-COVID and after COVID, right? I think everyone in their mind is like, hey, there's before COVID and there's after COVID.
Right.
You've had a lot of growth and things like that. What do you think has been a big impact for you in your practice, since COVID and we all came out of that? But what's been a thing that's really impacted you in your practice and the way you go about things?
Well, I'll bring it to a conversation that you and I had. I think it was last summer. I was getting frustrated. Attendance was down. I didn't have the quality, I don't say quality, but asset wise, of the client attending, and no one will ever accuse me of being the brightest bulb on the tree. And I think I reached out to you, and I do want to say, the main reason, why I have hung tight to RA, and it's not, Richy and Andrew are great people, Carly, everybody there, but is really you. And I felt like you took the time and kind of poured into me last summer. And, up until that time, I have been doing just Social Security seminars.
Right.
That was
constantly
it.
For years.
Constantly for years. And, like I said, no one accused me of being the brightest. And I was like, why isn't this working? So reached out to you.
Because it had been. That's a key point, right?
Yeah, it had been, absolutely. But, there's a degree of saturation, I think, and you're kind of wearing that topic out. So you and I huddled, and again, I've worked with other marketers, but I didn't find anybody that would take the time that you did with helping me to kind of come up with a game plan and say, look, we need to change these topics. And it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, what do you mean change topics? You're like, well, there's other topics out there. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we did that, and my business just, really took off from there. And it's not just the marketing, but it was the, everything in addition that you did. You didn't have to sit there and listen to me, kind of muddle through this and be like, why isn't this working? And you did. And so I've told everybody that I can, in fact, the new IMO, I'm like, look, you guys need to get with RA marketing because, they go above and beyond. And I will say this as well, that since we started adding the new topics, it kind of ebbs and flows, right? We've talked about this. But the one thing that I have experienced that I haven't experienced with other marketers is, number one, I have your personal number. So I'll text you and I'll say, hey, look, this campaign looks like it's slow. And I don't have to wait. You'll shoot back and be like, all right, I'm on it. And changes are made to the campaign while it's ongoing. And while those changes are made, I will see a definite pickup in registrations, and I can't really speak to a ton of other marketers, but I don't think that's the norm where, changes are made on the fly, because I really feel like RA and you are interested in my success.
That's big time right there.
Yeah, it's huge. That's, I'll just say it, shameless plug. That's what you're hearing from Scott. We didn't ask him to say that, but that's how we feel about all of our clients. We want that we always talk about internally kind of a vendor relationship versus a partnership. Yeah. And we've always viewed ourselves as all of our clients are our partners. We're not just a vendor of theirs, a third party that they pay and we do a service. We really genuinely care about their success. You say it to everybody when we bring on a new employee, everybody, our success is always somebody else's.
Yeah.
And that's true of the clients that we serve, right, and the clients that our clients serve. At the end of the day, if we're successful, it's because we've made somebody else successful. And that's kind of our, I don't know, that's our ethos, if you will. If we had a mission statement, I guess that's what it would be.
Yeah, it would be a good one. It sincerely bothers me. It bothers you and the whole team when people call us a vendor.
Right.
I just hate that term. It's almost like a cuss word to RA, but a meaningful one, because we're not really, we are focused on the advisor for sure in the partnership there, but our ultimate goal is the advisor's clients. We're picturing them and all the households you're going to be able to help. So when we're focused on that and you treat it like a vendorship, it just feels like it cuts the whole relationship in half. Yeah. So we really, really like working with advisors like Scott who understand, we're trying to, we want you to win because we want the people you're going to help to win.
Yeah. Yeah. He also talked a little bit, and I don't want to glaze over it too far. The whole changing of topics concept. And he's spot on with that. That was good advice from Keith. And I think that is something that we probably don't preach as much as we should. And honestly, I don't practice as much as we should, because I don't think I've changed topics this year. I've added some stuff, but it hasn't really
I don't know. I think well, the thing though is like, we're not doing single topic seminars either.
That's true. So
when we're doing the marketing, I have elements of Social Security, elements of taxes, elements of this. So you can market toward those things so it feels different, even though it's the same.
Yeah.
So if you're not comfortable fully like switching over your topics to, estate planning or whatever, just add those pillars in there so you can at least market that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kind of a broad approach to the message, because then you're appealing to a much broader audience, and you're not going to saturate as quickly as you would with, hey, I'm only going to talk about taxes. Because while that is a good topic, not everybody's going to respond to it. And if they don't, if you're excluding a section of your audience because that group doesn't want to listen to what your message is on taxes, then maybe they would listen to you on estate planning or on annuities or
right. You wouldn't use the same restaurant twice a month forever.
Right.
You're going to rotate restaurants because it keeps it fresh and light. So that's essentially the same thing with the presentation. So really smart what he said there.
Yep.
I hope you do feel that, because that is true, and that's true with everyone that works with us. We commonly say we walk the path with you. There's no shortcut to that top. Anyone who tells you they have a golden key in marketing or just the answer for everything is not being real straight with you. We know it takes work. We know it's an uphill battle, but we will walk that path with you. And I remember that conversation distinctly. I remember how frustrated you were.
Yep.
And I want to double click on this a little bit, Scott, if it's okay, because in marketing, we'll do something that works great. And for years, the Social Security and RMD topic for you was great. You had 2 venues.
Yep.
There were, dinner seminars at Italian restaurants, and you'd go back and forth, and it works. And then all of a sudden, it really did fall off a cliff. And I remember how down you were and frustrated you were. And anyone who gets like that, we kind of try to put our arm around them and lift them up and say, all right, let's figure this out. And it's not that anything necessarily has changed. And this is what I really wanted to underline a little bit with marketing. Sometimes areas become fatigued.
Yep.
If you are doing the same topic at the same venue and the same look in your advertising over and over and over and over again, there will come a time where you're going to see a degrade in your returns. And you're absolutely right. All we needed to do was get another venue in there, have a couple different topics, whether it's tax efficient retirement planning, whether it's estate planning or asset-based long-term, whatever. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, what happened what happened to the territory? Same territory, didn't change any of that.
Oh my gosh.
What happened?
I mean, my business this year has about quadrupled. From about
a year ago.
From about a year ago. And here's the thing too, I think it's important to note that I've worked with a few other marketers, and again, what really, in my opinion, sets you apart. And I had this conversation with a client yesterday, and he said, look, the reason why I recommend you, the reason why I'm here is because of the customer service. He's like, I never have to wait to get you. I never have to, I never feel like I'm bothering you. And that's what I get with you. I never feel, and I try not to, overdo that, but I never feel like, oh, well, you're looking at my text going, oh man, this guy again, because, and I think that could happen, right? I think that could happen with other marketing companies, because look, I'm not a big fish, but at the end of the day, it's my business. And I really do feel like, I've got a partner there with RA and with you that will definitely help me. And, you didn't have to take the time that you did. And I personally want to thank you for that. And you and I have had those conversations before where I'm like, look,
happy to do it.
Man, it means the world to me to be able to just kind of bounce things off you. In fact, well, look, we talked yesterday and I was talking about this mail campaign because kind of doing hybrid campaigns.
Right.
And I was like, not real happy with the response. And you kind of looked into it and you said, well, we're tracking. And, the last one we had knocked it out of the park. If it wasn't for the direct mail, I wouldn't have had very many attendees. So
versus digital on that one.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of flipped for this current one.
Yep. You're absolutely right. So
I love having both lines in the water, you know.
Well, and I will tell you, I have fought that kind of with the mailer. I was always a digital guy, but you brought it up. And I think I will say that the quality of assets, the amount of assets that the people with mailers have versus digital, I don't want to say it's night and day difference, but there's definitely a higher net
It's more
worth.
honed, right?
Yeah.
It's more focused.
Yep.
With digital, it is a bit more of a mixed bag. But the thing and we love digital. The thing you're going to find with digital is you will get 2 or 3 usually registrations for every one that comes from direct mail, and so there are pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. I loved a couple weeks ago, you sent me a redacted statement of a guy who has 9 million in investable assets.
Yeah.
Anyone who says that, digital marketing, for example, we hear it a lot, doesn't work. We have another guy in Arizona who has a $10 million CPA client that just came into them. All that was from digital, and direct mail is easier. I mean, I don't want to belittle it, because you can get a list, you can get targeted data, you can do that, and we do that. And we're very good at it. Mm-hmm. Digital is where we have shined and tend to shine and are different.
Without question. I agree with that 100%. So yeah, I mean, I'm not down on digital. It's what, it was my mainstay and still kind of is. I mean, we've added these hybrid campaigns, and, again, I'm not the quickest learner, right? But, I definitely see where adding that as a complement to the digital definitely is beneficial.
And I love that too. And I mean, I want to get into your practice and how you run events and everything like that here real quick for everyone listening. But, the research shows, and it's clear, that the segment or cohort of the population that tends to respond to digital marketing and the cohort or segment that tends to respond to direct mail are different.
Absolutely.
The overlap between if you were drawing a Venn diagram, the overlap between those two is not high. And that's surprising to a lot of people. They think they can do one or the other and have good reach into their market. And that is just a half truth. So I love that you're doing hybrid and doing both. I think we've had experiences where digital has saved the day, and we've had experiences where direct mail has saved the day.
Without question.
So it's not a question about which is better. They're both pros and cons. My goodness.
Absolutely. But when you combine them and have them work together, then absolutely. Yeah. You made a believer out of me on that. And going back to the different audiences, I've seen that absolutely. Where we were doing just digital marketing, you will see the same people responding, where when you add that mailer in there, that's a whole new group of people.
It's just like we're saying, yeah. Yep. And if you vary your venues, if you vary your topics, even if you are just direct mail or just digital, that does, even in itself, that does help stave off the fatigue that can happen to anyone in an area.
And so it does, yeah.
If you're struggling, if your marketing results aren't quite what they used to be, it may not mean anything is wrong with you or your message. It might simply mean we got to change from college campuses only to a dinner restaurant every once in a while, or from libraries only to add a college camp. We got to just freshen that up. We got to stop doing only Social Security and also do estate planning or tax-free retirement, whatever it is. You start doing that, and the people that show up are going to be different. But the quality that shows up is just going to be different. So
but again to me, and I don't have a ton of experience with that, but that's where RA shines, to say, okay, look, maybe this isn't working, but what can we do? My limited experience with others has kind of been like, hey, look, we ran the campaign that you wanted, and that's it. I mean, what do you expect? I don't find that with you, and that's why I've stayed, and I continue to stay.
Grateful for that. Tell us, Scott, about, let's get into this. What do you see in the industry trend-wise for financial advisors? What do you think is working as far as meeting with clients, the demographic of clients, why they're moving forward, what they're interested in, maybe versus 3 or 4 years ago, what they were kind of motivated by as a client? I wonder, just on the practice side, what you're seeing.
Taxes is a big one.
Okay.
I'm meeting with a lady at 12:30 with our CPA to kind of talk about, Roth conversions, and that's kind of the focus, and not the focus, but the pressure to get those done, by the end of 25 has gone away with the big beautiful bill, but people are still concerned about it, as well as estate planning issues. Okay. That's a big topic, and long-term care. So that's kind of the three that I'm focusing on now, and they've definitely paid off. But I would say that probably number one would be the tax issue, and how can we save on that tax burden, not only today but futuristically.
I love asking people when they think about the IRS, and my wife will ask people, what do you think the IRS stands for? Is it Internal Retirement Service? I mean, come on. Right. It's like, no, it is not.
Right.
So that doesn't surprise me at all. You're a little unique in your seminars. I think it's very common for people to have a projector screen up there or TV or something like that and kind of talk a little bit. You're giving me the Talk to us about how you present, what you do, because it is unique, Scott.
Yeah, I don't. And listen, this is just for self-preservation, right? Because I do not do well with electronic stuff. I mean, to me, that's just opening up another whole can of worms where something can go wrong. So
you do need to inspect what you expect, right?
Oh,
let's be
absolutely.
clear on that. If you're using technology, plug yours in.
Oh, my
events.
Lord. Yeah.
Oh,
so I don't want to add that as an element. So I actually create booklets that I hand out to them, and I use the booklets, but I don't. And by that, I mean, I don't follow it verbatim. So when I open, I kind of talk about, hey, look, this is what was in the marketing piece. We're going to cover these things, but I want to keep it conversational. So if you have questions, please ask. I want it to feel like it's organic and that they are leading the conversation. Obviously, as advisors, we know where we're going to take them and we know how to handle those things. But I think that it looks much more spontaneous. Mm-hmm. It looks much more personal, and it seems to work.
So I want to be real clear about this. You take what would normally be a PowerPoint presentation for most people, and you create booklets and you hand them out to the people who come in.
Yep.
So it's like you're following along in a storybook or something like that.
Yep. And number one, I think that, and I've heard this from a lot of people, that they've been to other seminars, and I would dare say I've heard from about 70% of people that have attended other events, and they've been like, everybody else uses a PowerPoint, and half the time you can't see it, or and they liked that book. They can take it home with them. They can write in it. They can do whatever they want to do.
Right there in the meeting, they'd take notes right in the book, right?
Right. Yeah. And the book contains various topics. Now we'll just touch on a few of them, but I'm like, hey, look, there's a lot of other stuff we could cover. It's in the book. Take it home with you, write in it, mark it up, do whatever. Give us a call if you have any questions. So that has worked for us very, very well.
That's a pretty cool concept. I've heard of some people doing that before. It's not how I do it. I do use a PowerPoint, but I like the engagement that he definitely gets off of something like that and being spontaneous. I think my takeaway from that is it doesn't matter if you use PowerPoint or a booklet. Just make sure you're not using it as a crutch. Like don't let it become a distraction to your audience. Use it as an engagement tool for your audience.
Yeah, just basically just be dynamic in whatever it is that you feel good at.
Yeah.
If you don't, for me, if I didn't have slides, I wouldn't enjoy that. I need slides. And actually my PowerPoint is like 148 slides.
Oh, wow.
For my seminar. Now, what I do.
Yeah, your transitions are your slides.
I don't transition within a slide. I make multiple slides for my transition. So it's not really 148, but it's a lot. And it's definitely slide focused, but I don't also sit there and just stare at it and read it. I'm walking around. I'm trying to be more dynamic within the PowerPoint so that people aren't bored out of their mind. So if you're seeing people falling asleep and you're having trouble like keeping engaged with them, then I would suggest probably, it could be simple stuff too. I saw a guy doing a heck of a job in this industry. Like I'm talking hundreds of millions a year. He has his presentation all on, like a pad.
Yeah, like a whiteboard type thing?
With a big Sharpie.
Yeah.
And he's writing it on paper, and he flips the paper over and he's writing stuff, and he does a little bit of slides with a little bit of that. But just that movement, I think sometimes chops it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where they're not so sleepy. So doing a book, and I like how he said he doesn't even really go in order, which means to him, he's pretty dynamic, which if you're good at that, the audience will really track with you because you're basically just paying attention to the audience and shifting where they want you to go.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. And that shows his experience on that.
Yeah. And the caution there is you gotta and it's true of the PowerPoint, it's true of the whiteboard model, it's true of the booklet model. You better know your stuff.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think that's where you're gonna find a difference between somebody doing his model or our model or a different model. If you don't know your stuff, however you're doing it is gonna fail.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You've got to know your content backwards and forward, inside and out. Because you're going to get questions thrown at you. You're going to have something that comes up. You're going to have somebody faint or fall over or break their chair or something like that. You're going to get, and if you're stumbling for your words and getting lost in your own presentation, you're going to lose the confidence.
Yep.
It's
very first seminar we did, somebody asked me a Medicare question in front of everybody. And something that today would have been a very simple answer. I just didn't know it. They didn't have the experience. And I was like, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it's okay to say I don't know, and I'll say that today. Like, hey, I don't know. Great question. I'll look it up. Get back to you.
Yeah.
But back then it was just like, oh my gosh. So for me too, I like some questions and I invite them through some sections, but other sections I close. Like I don't allow questions because for that reason it could get out of control, and you also don't know some of these audience members, man.
Some of them are a little bit wild.
They're high maintenance, loud, and it's like I don't want to invite that into the seminar. Could be who was that? Who was that advisor that basically tells him to, well, why don't you come up here and teach?
Yeah, George.
George. He'll be like, hey, well, Bob, if you're so good, I'm going to sit in your seat and you come teach. He'll like call him out like that.
Yeah, I could not do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want that experience. I just want it to be like fun and dynamic, but yeah. But go with, I guess ultimately what we're saying is just know what you're good at and go into that.
Yeah. Don't use it as a crutch, but use it as an engagement tool. Like just really use it to bring your audience in.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Good stuff.
That's awesome. That is very unique, and I can only imagine that it seems like it would create more of an organic discussion. And
to me, it does.
I know there are advisors out there who don't want that; they don't want questions, and I get that too because they are effective with that. It works for them. Mm-hmm. But you're encouraging kind of like a round table and kind of
Absolutely.
discussion, aren't you?
I got to get them to buy in. So you can tell who's serious. Because those people will typically engage. It's not every time, but, so absolutely. I encourage them to ask questions. And then if it getting off a little, off topic a little bit, you got to reel it in. Right. But we'll just say, hey, look, this is probably something that we need to discuss offline. So I'll get with you after the event.
Sure.
But I think people like that. And that creates that buy-in from them and that interactive. Instead of just sitting there being talked to, you're being talked with. So it works.
I love that. I mean, I think you have to balance. You're there to do sales, right? This is sales, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the typical. I'm standing in front and got a clicker going on and things like that. How do you balance it? Because to the other extreme, if you're just providing information with no hook, people at the end are going to say, great, thank you for the information. But they're going to feel like there's nothing to do with you. So how do you balance that where you are educating, you are having that good classroom roundtable discussion, getting buy-in, and then having hooks and making it so people understand they'd be better off with you?
Right, without question. So, and there's the crux, right? But throughout the presentation or discussion, I'm weaving in, get with us for a tax map, consultation, no cost consultation for your tax map, your written retirement plan. One of the things that's really helped me, which again, it took me a little long to figure this out, but when I start the seminar, I always say this event was created as a 2-part event. Tonight is part 1. We are going to cover a lot of material. Part 2 is in my office where we will apply your numbers to what we've learned tonight. And I say, so when we're done tonight, we will come around and we will get a time for us to meet so we can complete that second part of the program. And that has really helped because then you're kind of setting the stage and you go around and you don't say, would you like an appointment? You just say, when can we get you on the schedule to get your tax map, to get your things that we promised to you? And it's definitely helped the numbers.
How many, it's you and how many others are with you at the event?
Me and my office manager.
Okay. And I think that, Scott, there's a lot of value in people hearing that because I think you need a team to some level.
Oh, without
but
question.
You're doing it. You're doing it with just you and one other person.
Yeah, and let me say, I will say this. She was actually, I had somebody else, and she was retirement age, and so it was getting too much for her. So my current person and her husband came to an event. I started talking to him, and I was like, man, this lady is good. She's about the same age as me, and people absolutely love her. And I love her too. I mean, they're like family, but she's kind of the opposite of me. She's very touchy-feely. She's very get to know your grandkids. What's the dog's name? And I'm more business. And so, that kind of drives me a little bit nuts because I'm type A. I'm a real control freak. But boy, I'll tell you what, when she sits down with people, I mean, oftentimes she will work one half of the room and I'll work the other. Yeah. And, her booking percentage is way higher than mine because she just doesn't let them off the hook. So I probably am looking to add somebody else where I can just kind of float around as the owner. But right now it works. I mean, it works.
Sure. And we can always improve. So she's the soft underbelly to your prickly. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And people absolutely eat her up. They love her.
I mean, what's the phrasing that you're using? Like when you're weaving, you said you're weaving in throughout the presentation, things like, I guess, seeding that you're going to tell them, hey, we need to do part 2. I mean, is that pretty much the language? Are you constantly just reinforcing this is only part 1?
Absolutely. I'm constantly reinforcing that. And you're building in, hey, look, we're going to do a Morningstar, portfolio review for you. That's no cost, no obligation. We're going to make sure that you have the information to really see how your portfolio is doing. We're going to do a tax map for you to see, where are we with that? We're going to do, Roth conversion calculations, and you're building that in. And I say, when we get together, it's never if, it's when we get together, when you come into the office, when we sit down together. And I mean, you're going to get some kickback, but a lot of people are just like, okay.
Scott, I'm really interested in this because you are an example that of someone that we see that sets consistently high appointments at their events. And we've been trying to help and do coach people on this to set appointments at the event. We have some advisors that really struggle with that. They just have a check, yes, tough. I'm interested kind of thing. And they end up calling and trying to get maybe 40% of the yeses to actually commit. Mm-hmm. But, we have seen with you and others, advisors that commit to a process and program or just a protocol where they can set appointments at the event. You walk away with 8 or 9 events and 2 or 3 to call instead of 2 appointments. 8 or 9 appointments, and 2 or 3 to call instead of just 2 or 3 appointments and like 6 to try and call or 7 to try and call.
Right. And since kind of instituting that 2-part process, I think this last event, we had 18 buying units and we got 15 appointments. So, you just assume that, hey, look, it is, and that's immediately what I start off with. This is a 2-part course. Tonight is the first part, but where the rubber meets the road is when we get together. And that's definitely helped.
15 out of 18, you're doing something right.
That's good. That's real good.
That's pretty solid.
Those are some solid numbers.
Yeah.
I don't get those kind of numbers.
That's strong. Sometimes you don't even want it that strong because it's like too many, but man, there's so much good wisdom in there. I can't imagine not asking for the appointment at the seminar. Yeah.
If you're not asking for the appointment at the seminar, you're shooting yourself in the foot because exactly like he said, you might get 1 or 2 that desperately want an appointment, and maybe those are your low-hanging fruit and they're the easy ones, but you're giving yourself so much work after the event to follow up and chase down 6 or 7, and we both know it. Like, it happens at every event. You get a handful of call me's or whatever. And what's the conversion rate on it? He said 40%. That's generous.
Yeah,
maybe 20%. Yeah. Our last event, we had I think we had 5 appointments set at the event, and we had maybe 4 or 5 call me's, and we did get more than normal. But it was kind of extenuating circumstances because fall break, we just didn't time things right with fall break, and everybody was leaving town. I was like, dang it, I didn't think about that. But that was rare. Normally it's like we get 2 or 3 call me's and we're lucky if we get one of them. Like it's just, you got to set that appointment. You got to get it then when strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah. And I'm going to tattle on myself. This is one of those, don't do as I say, like, or don't do as I do as we say, or something like that. Yeah. However that goes. Like I'm just straight up don't follow up with people. If they don't schedule an appointment, we're not going to do it. Hannah will call everybody who asks for a call back a few times, and she'll get a couple in there and whatever. But outside of that, pretty much my focus is on whoever says yes at the seminar.
Yeah. And
kind of like with him, this isn't a one and done night. Like I just assume it's a yes, and I just tell him that I'm going to make you're going to have to tell me no, because I'm assuming that if you're here, there's a reason. I'm assuming that if you come to my office for that first appointment, there's reasons. I'm assuming if you're here for the jet book appointment, you need my help. Like I don't ever say like, so what do you want to do? Do you want to move forward? I just say, okay, next step is, sign here. Let's go. Because I'm going to make them they'll tell me no if they don't want to do it, but you're here for a reason. You're going through the system, this process. You've spent hours with me. Like, so I would encourage you guys at the seminar, ask for the appointment and then do like he's doing. Don't make it a choppy, this event, this one meeting. Make it, it's a system throughout. We call it our pilot process that gets to the jet book, but whatever your thing is, make it that it feels like a whole system that they have to tell you no, not you asking them to say yes.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we started doing it that way back when.
Yeah,
we both maintained that kind of idea of like this is a multi-step deal. This is not a. I mean, I straight up say there's no obligation to go beyond, the first step if you don't want to. Like I'm not going to beg you for it.
No,
but you're really going to get the value if you go on to step 2, step 3, and all that good stuff. So, the other thing that he's kind of talked about loosely, and he didn't specifically say it, is he's demonstrating throughout his presentation, he's demonstrating the value of what they get when they go on to the next portion of his process. And I think that's really important. Keith said it to me a long time ago. I think he said it to you too. Like there's, a fee is only objectionable in the absence of value. Mm-hmm. I think thinking of the commitment to time going to the appointment is only objectionable if they don't see the value in why they should go on to the next step. Yeah. So demonstrating, throughout, you're going to get your tax map, like Scott talks about, you're going to get your written retirement plan, you're going to get your jet book, or you're going to get this, or you're going to get that. Like demonstrating the value of those things throughout your presentation is critical to having that buy-in where they're like, oh yeah, I am motivated to go on to that next step.
Yeah. I would say I probably charge in the higher percentage of AUM fees. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not, it's not like crazy, but I would say I'm probably a little bit higher than the average competition. I don't have any problems with that. I only had that one lady who I told you last week I was a little upset about how that went. She asked me for a discount and I kind of bent over to do it, and then she didn't do it. It was like frustrating. Outside of that though, I don't have any problems with that. And it's because you do what he's doing. It's like, here's all these reports and these things and the work and the stuff that we're going to do for you. They see the value in that. It's an ongoing service, not just a one-time choppy thing. So
yeah. And don't be afraid of your, it's something else I had to learn. Don't be afraid of your fee. Just show the value of what you're giving. And if somebody does ask for it, I had that happen a couple of weeks ago. Somebody's like, well, is your fee negotiable? And I'm like, I mean, I guess technically it's negotiable, but look what you're getting. They're like, well, that's more than I'm paying my current guy. I was like, yeah, but your current guy's not doing this, or this. These are all the things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm earning that fee.
Right.
And they're like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. And so it's
confidently
like,
stated.
yeah, and this is what it is. I'm not going to discount it because if I discounted, I wouldn't be able to do all these things.
Yeah. And you don't want a cheap client anyways.
Right.
Unless they're millions and millions and it makes sense to cut it, you really don't want that anyways.
Right. I mean, there's a handful of times where I'll cut it. It's like, all right, I'll bend for that one, but it's for the average client, there's just no point.
And you're doing these mostly, I mean, you're doing restaurant type dinners mostly, or events, right?
I am. Yep. Restaurant only right now.
Okay. And I think in your area, it's a little tough. We've talked about trying the education of the college campus, the library. It's
terrible.
Pretty rough where you are.
Yeah, I can't. I used to use a community college. It's definitely not easy. Yeah,
I find that interesting. And I mean, but you're also not doing the $122 steak dinners either.
I'm cheap.
Yeah, you're cheap. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people do choose, I want to do just a library. I want to do just a college campus. They don't want to have the food cost.
I was that person.
Mm-hmm. Well, how's it been different then since you're not doing that anymore? I mean, what do you see?
You got to bite the bullet. I mean, I was only education before, and I was like, I'll never buy somebody dinner. That's ridiculous. Well, okay. I mean, then your business is going to show that, right? I think having a mix now, this for the last for the last 2 years, maybe, I've done nothing but dinner. So we're looking, you and I have talked about this, doing some education style. So in this particular area, it's a little bit hard, but if you can blend that in, but you kind of, at least from my perspective, when I was looking at dinner seminars, I'm like, I'm not buying people dinner that could care less. And look, that's the cost of doing business. It's going to happen. But it definitely helps fill the seats.
We'd argue you have that cost irrespective.
You do, right?
One way or another, you actually do have that cost.
Yeah, it's just, it hurts that night when you have to pull out the credit card and put it on there. But you're absolutely right. And I think that's kind of the difference between looking at, the forest instead of looking at the tree. So I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, very good. Well, we're often trying to help people understand, and I think you're a great example of this relationship. But, RA is trying to be a partner with advisors. We do not work with everyone who calls us up. Sometimes the values don't align. When we start to be treated as a vendor, we know that relationship isn't where we want it. We want to be a partner, and I think you've experienced this. The longer we are with an advisor in their area, the better we get, because while we're not perfect, we do work darn hard, and we want to be your marketing arm, not just a vendor. That's your phone company, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, there's no question with my experience that that's the case. I mean, there's tons of vendors out there.
Yeah.
But having this relationship of being able to text you and say, hey, man, I'm thinking about this. And you and I have talked, again, I can't express how many times we have talked. And I will say, hey, Keith, I'm thinking about this. And, you'll be like, well, okay, let's talk about it. And this has been your experience. And I brought up other vendors, and you've said, oh, yeah, I know plenty of people there. This may be why, they have the numbers they do, or this may be whatever. But again, when it really comes down to it, having that partner in your corner, to me, I mean, that's, you can't put a price on that.
Well, very good, Scott. Man, I just, big picture, what's the rest of the year looking like for you? What are you looking to do in 2026? I know you've quadrupled your business since we huddled, retooled your marketing, got you going. A little over a year ago. What's the rest of the year looking like? What are your goals? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting close to the goal I set for this year. So just keep plugging away and just trying to hone the sales process. Of course, that's obviously, you can get the people to the table, but you got to be able to close them. So you're constantly trying to work on that and tweak that. And along those lines as well, you and I have had conversations about that. So again, I think that, anybody can be a vendor, anybody can market, but to have that type of one-on-one personal contact is, again, it's priceless. So, and you and I have talked. I was like, look, man, this is where I am. I want to expand next year. And we've talked about, many other type of marketing venues and different types of things. So it's not just, hey, all they do is digital. All they do is mailers. There's a lot of other things. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think that, and I think this is true, that we're very much a consultant and a partner, and so we don't care what it is. If someone wants to talk, Scott, you've experienced this directly. They got an idea. We're always going to invest time in that idea and explore it with you. We'll also tell you when we think you're full of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. But you know what? But that's what. But that's.
I think we owe a duty for that to you, right?
Well, and that's been my experience, right? So, like I said, I've done events with other vendors, and it's been like, hey, what's going on with this? And they're like, look,
whatever.
I mean, so, and I've said that to many advisors that I've talked to. I've like, look, you got to talk to Keith, because, my experience is I can say, hey, I don't like this copy that's on Facebook. Well, within an hour, it's changed. And I'm like, wow, and then you'll see a change in the uptick or an uptick in registration. So again, if you're working with somebody else and that's fine, but I think you're going to get a level of professionalism. You're going to get a level of partnership with RA that you're not going to get somewhere else.
Hey, Scott, I want to thank you for taking the time. I'm so happy, your business has, just done this.
Yep.
And we're just honored to be with you because we know that you're doing good in the world. And that's what motivates us, is to help the people like you who are trying to do good in the world out there. And so thanks for being here and taking your time today. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. That was,
Yeah, thanks, Scott. That was I really appreciate all those kind words. I mean, he kind of put towards some of the things that we've tried to instill in the team, and I think we've apparently done a reasonably good job of getting the team to really embody that partnership mindset and not just a vendor relationship mindset. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, so cool. And we got our name in digital marketing. You and I used to work in an FMO. If you followed our story, we used to work in an FMO. We started doing digital marketing there, just Facebook ads. I think we fooled around with Google and some stuff at that time too, but we got our name in digital. So when we started RA, it was like, we're a Facebook advertising digital marketing company.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. We built a nice reputation. And then, but fast forward to today, and we now do digital still, but we also are a powerhouse in mail. Yeah. We're an event marketing company. We don't want to be a one-trick pony. We've built a reputation. We're a solid company at this point. We've got great customers, like Scott. And whether you're doing digital or you're doing mail, man, the team is just killing it. It's really fun to see.
Yeah. Scott mentioned it. We didn't really land on it much, but the hybrid idea, I think, is it's something to consider, especially if you are starting to see saturation in one phase or the other. I remember years ago, we always preached against mail before we started doing it. And I would always use, the Venn diagram of mail versus digital. It's pretty overlap. You're basically hitting the same audience. I was like, there's some people you're not hitting, but you don't want those people anyway. And I was wrong. Straight up. I was wrong about that. Yeah. I think that, we've seen, I get all the seed mailers. I don't know if you get all the seed mailers too. Yeah. I get so many freaking mailers at my house now, and it's just it's so cool to see.
This one looks pretty cool. I go into our project board. That is one of ours.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's pretty cool. We're seeing people do Top Golf. We're seeing restaurants. We are still seeing libraries and colleges.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
depending on your area, it might work out for you. So,
and that's kind of where I consider mail a little bit. Because I primarily do digital. Maybe it's just because again, that's where we came from. I don't know, but primarily do digital. But that's where I consider mail is like, hey, I want to do it at my office. Mm-hmm. Digital will bring it there, but I think sometimes sending that mail for educational style. I don't know if that's just me in my head or if
it's worth a try.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the right way to say it. It's worth a try. Yeah. Try digital, try mail. But the whole thing is he didn't give up. He had some bad campaigns. We've had bad campaigns. It's going to happen. You just have the next one lined up and you keep it rocking. Yep. But really, really cool interview there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I liked it.
So I think we have one more of these things.
Yeah, one more of these things, and I've heard that one's a real good one too. So looking forward to it.
Yep. So we'll see you guys for the next one.